I'd like to call this special planning session to order and welcome everyone. Today's good to be here, good to see everyone here, and also welcome those who are watching on our live stream. Welcome to you as well. As is customary for us in our meetings, we will open with an invocation and a pledge, and I've asked Vice Chair Harris to lead us in the invocation and Commissioner Godwin to lead us in the pledge. So if you would, please stand.
Let us pray together. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, we gather this morning in humble thanksgiving for all that you've done for us. Father, as we go throughout this next 2 days of planning and discussions for our county, we ask that you be with us and help us to make good decisions. Give us the will of the people, Father. We just pray that you will watch over us, protect our families. Lord, we say a special blessing for our military men and women that are standing the post all around the world today, that give us the opportunity to gather here this morning. Father, we just ask that you bless our conversations, Lord, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. We'll face the flag, join in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I did want to open up and say, from my perspective, this is the time of year that I look forward to. I won't say the most, but a lot more so than most, where we can come together and adjust the course of Johnston County and consider all that we have on the table and come away with some priorities. I did want to remind, and I don't know if these have changed or not, but we'll have 2 days to discuss the board priorities. The 6 that we have now are educational funding, infrastructure, financial stewardship, land use, public safety, and our county employees. And throughout these 2 days, I am sure we will touch on all of these many times throughout. I did want to say a thank you to Johnston Community College for allowing us to have our meetings here at the Workforce Development Center in Clayton. Is critical to our biopharmaceutical industry here in Clayton, and we're thankful to be here. And we have Dr. Vern Lindquist here, president of JCC, to give us a welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, Vice Chairman, Chairman, thank you very much for choosing us here. The Workforce Development Center, 30,000 square feet of forward-thinking, concrete example of how we do partnerships in Johnston County. This building was a result of a partnership between the college, economic development, the county, and local industry, and it is generally abuzz with workforce training, biofarm training, and this kind of thing too. So we do our best to use this facility to reach out to the community and make sure that they know what kinds of things we do here. So I hope that you have a productive couple of days here, and I also hope you get a chance to look through the facility. It really is unique in the state, and we've got a brand new robot for you to look at too. So we just got a gift of a robot from Novo Nordisk yesterday. It's not working yet, but you can stand as close to it as you want, but other than that, you have to stand far back. So thank you very much for choosing us, and have a productive few days.
All right, thank you. And I guess this is the 4th year that the North Carolina Association of County Commissioners has been here to facilitate us in our discussions as we go through our planning session. So with that, I will turn it over to the Executive Director of that fine organization, Kevin Leonard.
If it's okay, I'm going to walk around a little bit and get a little bit close to you guys, and I think I have about 30 to 40 minutes sort of to set the stage, talk about what we're going to do over the next couple of days. Hi to the folks at home. We really appreciate y'all being here and watching and participating in the local government process. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, 4 years. That's really incredible. Not only that it's been 4 years, but y'all keep inviting us back. And we're really grateful for that, and thank you.
You have a great staff.
Yes, it's pretty remarkable, and I'll introduce you to our great staff here in a second. But really, truly, I just want to say thank you to your board and to Johnston County for being members of the Association of County Commissioners. You all know this, but for those who may be listening, the Association of County Commissioners has been around since 1908. We have had all 100 counties as members probably since then. It feels like that's not true. There was only 98 counties in 1908. The last two counties came on board were created in 1911. But since 1911, I'm pretty sure we've had about 100 counties as members of the Association of County Commissioners. And we advocate for the counties at the General Assembly and in Congress. We provide education and training. We do this type of thing for our counties. And in fact, I was just in Buncombe County. My colleague Amy Basin and I were there. Amy's not with us this year. I was not with you last year because I had COVID, and I'm sorry that I missed it, but I'm glad to be back now. But she says hello. We were in Buncombe County doing this last week for the Buncombe County Board, and we're pleased to be here. I wanted to say that our first year together, we were very proud to be a part of helping y'all draft your mission statement, which I believe still reads. I went on, I was looking at your website yesterday, getting ready for the meeting. The mission of Johnston County Board of Commissioners is to provide visionary leadership and strategic guidance that promotes effective and efficient county government that seeks to enhance the quality of life for the present and future generations of the people of Johnston County in a fiscally responsible manner. Does that still hold true for you guys? Feels like it. And I want to compliment the chairman and the board and the county staff for taking the time to do this annually, because it's pretty important stuff when you think about it. Let me introduce my colleagues. As you have pointed out, we have a pretty awesome staff at the association that I get to work with, and it makes it pretty easy. I'm just trying to catch up with them most of the time, most of the days. But you're going to hear from Denise Canada in a little bit, talking about research, and she's focused that on Johnston County. She's our NCACC Fiscal and Policy Research Director. Neil Emery and Amy Cannon are going to help you lead through your discussions. As I call them, they are recovering county managers. And we are so lucky to have them on our team. We have Neil. I'm not sure all the counties. He can tell you the counties that he served in, and Amy has served in Cumberland County and retired, and we are so lucky to have their expertise on our team, because they've probably been through it, and they can lend their expertise and experience to you, and they're just excellent facilitators in helping sort of tease out the things that you want to do and that. So I'm very lucky to work with these three individuals. And back at the office, not too far away from here, we have just an amazing group of really talented people that work for you. And they wake up every morning dedicated to counties and the work that counties do. I'm a little biased, but I'm pretty sure and I feel confident that county government's where it happens. I've had the opportunity in my career to work at the federal level and the state level, but right here is where it happens. Y'all are making it happen on a daily basis, and we don't take that for granted, and we appreciate the work that you do. You probably don't get thanked enough for the jobs that you do, because there's a lot of glory, I know, y'all get, and a lot of high pay for the work that you do, but this is volunteer work mostly, and so I truly appreciate y'all standing up in your communities and volunteering, running for office to do this work. You are the leaders at this particular time in history for Johnston County. Y'all are helping to craft the future, and that's what this is about. Because when a commissioner in Buncombe County said this last week when we were together, when y'all get together for your meetings, you've got a pretty tight agenda, right? I don't know how long your meetings are, but I'm going to guess they're a couple of hours-ish. Some might go longer, but my guess is that they're pretty tight agendas. You got what you got to do. You got to come in, and that's after a long day of whatever you're doing in your day job. But rarely do you get dedicated time like you're doing today and tomorrow to really focus on the future? And when you think about it, this board that's sitting here in front of me, y'all are making plans for the future, not for tomorrow, but for years and years from now. You're setting the course for the future. And I'm really honing in on that because I'm trying to get your minds wrapped around that that's what you're to be thinking about for the next couple of days. All right, I'm going to do an exercise with you guys. So, you know, I'm going to try to loosen you up a little bit to get you full into what I call flip chart and marker mode. Because the next 2 days you're going to exercise your minds and you're going to have to loosen up a little bit. And my hope is that y'all are actively participating. You know, just not sitting there. We need you to do that part. And I'll get into roles and responsibilities in a minute. But we did this exercise with our leadership team, with our full staff, and I did it with the board last week when we did this retreat. Does anybody have well, if you could put a sign on your door for your office, wherever your office is, or if you don't have an office, pretend you have an office, but I'm guessing you'll have some offices somewhere. And you wanted somebody to know something about you when they walked in that door. Something like, oh, I'm going to walk in to see Kevin. I need to, whatever that sign says. I want you to take a moment, just a couple of minutes. Let's take 3 minutes. I'll give you an extra minute if you need it, but I want you to think about this. If you had a sign on your door that said your name, and I'd like to know because there's a lot of change with the board since we started 4 years ago, which as an aside, when I was researching yesterday, getting ready for this, I saw the video for Commissioner Braswell's bridge, and I just thought that was real nice. And so I just wanted to remember him today as we get started on this. So I just wanted to say that. But there's been a lot of change on this board.
Can I add something?
Sure.
So it's ironic, and you probably did not know this, but he is known for wearing a pink tie.
I did know that.
You did? Okay, well, good.
I did that on purpose today. Yeah. So put your name on your sign. Also tell me, like, your tenure on the board, how long you've been a member of the board. And then just a phrase, something that you want somebody who walks through your door to know about you and how to talk with you when you walk in the door. I'll give you like 3 minutes. And then just to set expectations, I'm gonna ask everybody to read that and explain it. Y'all can participate too, by the way, if you want to. I'm getting the sense we'll just do the board here. But I'm catching those vibes from over here. But I sure would like to know sometime. And then we'll read them out loud. And then the next question I'm going to ask you after that, before we get into roles and responsibilities, and then we're going to talk about successes for the year. That's what we're going to do here in the next 30 or 15, 20 minutes. I want to know what success looks like for you guys out of today. And I'm going to be quiet for 2 minutes, which is really hard. Not a word. I'm not going to say another word. I'll be really quiet. Now, 1 more minute. All right, Mr. Chairman, you want to go first or last?
I'll go last.
Last, all
Yeah, I'll
right.
go
all
last.
right. Commissioner Godwin, you ready? He's holding up his sign. He's ready to go. All right. Is it already on your door?
Yes.
It is? Okay. What's your sign? If I'm walking into your office tomorrow and that sign's on your door, what does it say? What do you want me to know about you?
Ted Godwin, board member 12 years, enter with creative thoughts that are relevant and a willingness to share.
Okay. Creative thoughts. Willingness to share. Excellent. All right. Who would like to go next? Commissioner?
Michelle Pace Davis, first year member or new kid on the block. Welcome for friendly conversations represented by the community and a voice to the board.
Excellent. Thank you. Yes, sir. Commissioner Rose.
All right, Mike Rose, Commissioner, says December of 2024, relatively new also, and I put always leave things a little better than you found them.
Mike. Nice. Good. Yes, Commissioner
April
Stevens.
Stevens, going on my 4th year on the board, and mine would say, put your positive pants on.
I
Because
like
if
that.
you approach with negativity, I don't know that I can help you. We gotta start from a positive place.
Love it. Thank you. Commissioner Harris.
Patrick Harris, been on the board since 2018, and my sign would simply read, "All are welcome here."
Love it. Thank you. Commissioner Stovall.
My sign's gonna say Bill Stovall, professional engineer. My time on the board, I've had 10 months tenure so far. I was sworn in early into Mr. Browser's seat when he unexpectedly passed away, and I was just elected to a 4-year term. The door says, come with the facts, and always have a plan and a backup plan.
Great. Thank you. I'm seeing nodding heads, by the way. Y'all know each other fairly well already a little bit, but this makes sense. It's looking like to y'all. Is that right?
Mhm.
Yeah? Okay.
So,
Mr. Chairman?
Butch Lauder, been here 6 years, and I chose a lot fewer words than the rest of them. Mine it's either going to say authentic or be authentic. So that is your expectation when you come to my door would be that I'm going to be authentic, and I would have that same expectation that you would be authentic.
Great. Here's this. I love this exercise, and my guess is because of the exercise that you're going to partake in a little bit later, this is going to jive with some of the things that you're going to learn about yourself. I'm a big fan of learning about myself and learning about others because it helps me communicate and have set expectations coming in. Was there anything that surprised y'all about hearing that from your fellow board members at all?
No.
No? Tell me what you think you heard as themes from this board by that little exercise. Yes?
That we're all very open and honest to listening to open and honest conversations.
Two things there I heard you say specifically that resonated with me out of hearing that is you're all open and honest, genuine, authentic conversations, right? It's kind of like shoot straight with me. I can take it. I'm adding that part, but my guess is that y'all can take it because you're in the positions that you're in. But y'all value, as a group, openness. I didn't hear anybody put on their sign, please do not come in. Right?
Appointments only.
Right, appointments only. But that's worth saying out loud. One, to the public who's watching, that's your job, is to be open to the public, right? But to each other and to people that you work with. You are an open person. You are welcoming to ideas, but the ideas need to be planned. You have a plan. They need to be thought out. They need to be authentic. So, and by the way, there are people and jobs and functions that say, nope, by appointment only, right? But that's not who this group is. And truly, that's a part of public service. So that's kind of a theme in the work that we do. What else did you hear as a theme?
I think we all have diverse strengths.
Yeah,
We're not the same,
yeah,
and that brings different perspectives at this table.
That's a big, strong, great point for a board, right?
Yes.
Because I tend to call them superpowers at my office. Like, if we have a team, this person has a superpower, but it's offset by, I don't have that superpower, but my superpower is something else. The two of y'all sitting beside each other is interesting to me just because of what I heard you both say. And check me if I'm out of line here or off chart, but very plan-oriented is what I heard you say, right? Can you read your sign again?
My sign says, "Come with the facts," and also always have a plan and a backup plan.
Yeah, two plans. And the facts, which I would say can be different to different people, right?
Absolutely.
Your facts could be apparently different from other people's facts or that. Your sign had, my word that I kept, or I heard you say that stood out to me was creativity, right? So you may not be bound so much by a plan. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but.
My wife says so.
Yeah. So that could potentially put y'all in some conflict at some point in time because you're like, well, I don't know, let's figure it out as we go along because there's different solutions to different things, and you're like, oh, there's a plan, and then there's a backup plan, and that's the plan, and we need to work the plan. I'm just making this up. I don't know if that's true or not, but my experience with boards that you can have those two things going on at the same time. But you can draw on the creativity, and you can also draw on the fact that you need a plan. And y'all might use that as a board at some point in time. Anything else before we move on? I appreciate y'all going on that little adventure with me, but I really like that exercise because it tells me a lot about the board, and it reinforces a lot of the positivity out of a board that I know y'all already have. Because we've had the benefit of working with y'all for 4 years now. And I know y'all are dedicated to the future of your county, and y'all are dedicated to making a positive difference in your county. And I just wanted to reemphasize that you all have all those strengths. You're all open, and I love the genuine, authentic, straight talk, because that's going to benefit you guys more than anything if y'all can trust each other as a board to be like, hey, I just need to tell you how I'm feeling, and this is straight talk, and then you can go from there. I'm going to guess that your exercise later is just going to reinforce a lot of these things, and I'm looking forward to observing that. Let's talk about success just quickly, and you can participate in this or not, but I would love to hear, if you're willing to share, what you think success out when you leave tomorrow and you're really tired because you've been working your brain for the past 2 days. What's gonna make you be like, that was great. I'm really looking forward to next year when we do it again. What's success for y'all? If you're all right, I'll start down here. I don't want to volunteer you, but I'll. Yeah.
Might as well.
Are you okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, thanks.
I would say success would be knowing our board priorities and being able to know each other's priorities within ourselves, how we've ranked them in the future of the county and where we stand on certain things.
Great, thank you. I can just work down, or anybody want to raise their hand? Yes, Commissioner.
I think one of our biggest success in the past year is we've got a lot of capital needs in this county, schools as well as county needs. And borrowing money through bonds is the way to achieve those. We were finally able to achieve a AAA bond rating, which allows us to buy at the least amount of interest and save us quite a bit of money on interest. So I think that is a good, outstanding achievement and something we want to protect and preserve.
Great, thank you. And success out of this process today and tomorrow, because I want to delve into greater detail on what you think the successes are since a year ago. Commissioner Godwin?
We were all sent a list of those possible capital expenditures, the things that need to be done. And I think success here would be for us to all come away with a good, I'm sure there's diverse listings. My number one might be Bill's number 12.
Right.
But if we could come away with a better understanding of what's 1, 2, 3, and 4, and all agree on that.
Yeah. So we did talk a little bit about that before the meeting today, and I think that Amy and Neil and Denise, with helping us with the spreadsheet, but Amy and Neil specifically are going to help work through that. So that is our plan. We hope to achieve that. I'll come back to you at the end if you want me to.
Yeah.
All right. Mr. Vice Chairman?
I think the success, leaving here after tomorrow, is to have the clear priorities of the board for the next 12 months. And I think, obviously the glaring part that we're looking at is the capital projects. But even with that, to continue to reassess our board priorities, we've kind of reestablished those every year. Fortunately, they've been the same for the past few years, and I don't anticipate there'll be any dramatic changes to that, but still to go back and relook at that every year to make sure that we're still moving in a direction and to learn more about my fellow board members, the newer ones that have come on the board. They're really doing a great job so far, and it's interesting to get to learn from them and hear their perspective on the priorities and the goals for the county. And the AAA bond rating certainly is a great accomplishment, and it puts our county in a position to be able to get a lot of things done and to be able to move the ball forward in accomplishing some of the objectives that have been laying on the table for a lot of years.
Yeah. Great. Thanks for re-emphasizing sort of just, even if you have the same list and it might adjust a little bit, it's affirming to annually come together and be like, yeah, we're still on the right path. And I really appreciate you bringing in the new commissioners. That was the one thing on the door signs I heard just by the tenure is you got a lot of new voices, new personalities at the table. And so I think that's admirable, and you should be applauded for bringing new voices in and acknowledging that. So thank you for doing that. Commissioner Rose?
Yeah, and as one of those newer commissioners, I would just say that everything I've heard so far I completely agree with. But on a personal note, I would say what I would like to take away from this is just an overall understanding of how this whole budgeting process and the capital outlays and everything is going to come together at the county level. I've been doing this on a town level now for 11 years, but this is a bigger task, and so that's what I just want to come away with is how this is all going to happen and get a bigger picture of exactly what our job is going to be for this year.
Great. Commissioner Rose, thank you so much for saying that. And if it's okay, well, from our perspective, from the association, and I would say from the county staff perspective, let's keep in mind not to take for granted that everybody knows the acronyms that we are going to say or the processes that we're talking about. It's really easy for folks who've been doing it a long time to talk in code about what we're doing, right? So, and you can fall into it naturally because it's just easy for us who have been doing it for so long. So with the permission of the board, Commissioner Rose or anybody else who's new, please feel like you're the person that needs to be. What does that mean? Mm-hmm. And don't hesitate to do it because this is the permission given, if it's okay, to be like, I need to know what that acronym means. And your vice chairman shaking his head beside him so he can help you out to be like, now, is that? Mm-hmm. So sometimes we just need to vocalize that. So that's great. Thank you very much. Mr. Stevens?
Yeah, I think my definition was a little overarching, but I put earning the respect of our fellow board members and constituents that when they see, whether they agree or not, they understand the decisions that we make are always with the greater good in mind.
I love that. That's great. So you're bringing in the understanding from the people who are watching and the public too, which my guess is it's on everybody's mind here as well. But I love you vocalizing it, and that we're approaching things from a positive point of view. That we're not coming in from a malicious point of view, we are all here together for the betterment of Johnston County, that we want a better future for Johnston County. So that's, if we can walk away today and tomorrow with people feeling that, that's a success. Great, thank you. Chairman.
So I've got two parts to mine. The first one is a success as far as the board is concerned. And I say, it's hard to think that I've been doing this elected official role 20 years between Clayton and here. But this early on and 3 months into serving with this board, I think that it's safe for me to say I've never worked with a board that from 1 through 7 in our case, that everyone is engaged, we have positive attitudes, and we are about serving the people of Johnston County. That's our number one priority. And so to be on a board already this early into it is amazing. That I've talked with Rick about that and the board members as well. So I think even though we are working together well already, the exercise we just did and the one we'll have right before lunch where we can learn a little bit about ourselves, but also about each other. And I think you hit it on the head to start with. You know, it's important to know what Bill's strengths are, and that given certain situations or circumstances, he's the best one that I would reach out to, or it may be Mike or whoever it is on the board. We can learn each other's strengths and function as a team, knowing that rather than not knowing that and always assuming maybe less than positive intent of other people. We understand where everybody's coming from and realize that there are issues that we deal with an issue and we can move on to the next issue without thinking and drawing up something from the past. As far as other success, I think as we set our priorities, I think that's one thing for us to do it, but I think it gives direction to the staff that they can have a plan to know, okay, this is what the board said we needed to do in the next year, and have them be able to execute on that plan and not be guessing, well, we got 3 of them that said this, 2 said this, and 2 more said this. I'm not really sure how to interpret that, so we're going to wait for further clarification. So I think this, coming out of this, if we can establish the priorities for the county, give the staff something to execute, but also the people. We go back, as Commissioner Stevens said, it's about serving the people, so the people will understand where we're coming from and why we're doing things the way we're doing them, and realize there may be differences on the board, but we have a direction and we're going to follow that. We're just not coming into each meeting and making random decisions. That we have priorities and we're going to follow those and see those through.
Great. I have faith and a strong feeling that we're going to be able to be successful over these next 2 days, because not only the agenda that the team here, the staff and the association have worked to put forward, but I want to compliment this board, because just listening to y'all getting started this morning, y'all have high emotional intelligence already in terms of understanding the board dynamics, understanding yourself, and I will tell you that not every board is like that. And so compliments to you guys for putting in the time to do that. And I agree with you that the exercise later this morning, I think, will only further that and putting more and more time together. If you have us back another year, I've got more stories to tell about hiking and Legos, because what you just said reminded me of a story about Legos, which you may have heard before in leading your county government. The premise is this, and it's a little bit longer, but the fact is that there's so many variations of how you can build things and put things together, and you sort of extrapolate that out to a board. That Commissioner Stovall has got his expertise, and if you put it with Commissioner Rose, when you find out more about Commissioner Rose's expertise, that you can pretty much accomplish and solve any challenge that's before you. So anyway, I'll save that one for a future date if you let me come back. We're going to get into roles and responsibilities, set that, and then I want to hear like what You were already teasing it out a little bit about what went well this past year, but I might ask you too, like, what would you change? Like, what were some challenges this year? So we're aware of that as well. Roles and responsibilities for the next 2 days. I could say what they are, but I'd be curious. What do you think your role is here for the next 2 days? What's the board's role? Yes?
Listen more than we speak.
Okay. But make sure you're active, right? Make sure you're an active participant.
Yeah, I think first we have to be present, and I think that this board does a great job of being present, and then participate, but I think there will be a lot of listening to other ideas in there, so we got 2 ears, so I think that's always a good thing to use those. I hope my wife is not watching because she might not think I use them that much, but I think we'll do that the next 2 days for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, I think listening is an important part. I think also the willingness to engage, the willingness to have the conversation and to open up about the priorities and the things that we find important, because each one of us is here to represent the people. And each one of us spends a lot of time out in the public talking to people. And so we want to bring those same concerns to the table and make sure that all the voices are heard and that we are truly representing the people of Johnston County in the way that they want us to and expect us to. So I think the willingness to show up, listen, and also to participate and to be open to the conversations.
If I may add a little bit to that, because I think it's spot on. I just want to clarify a little bit or add to, and that is that you have a responsibility to ask questions of your colleagues. And in my head, I was thinking, say the word, push your colleagues or push your board members. That feels like a negative connotation. It's not meant to sound that way, but if Commissioner Godwin has a statement on something, but you don't quite understand that or understand where he's coming from on that, y'all have a responsibility to ask him, like, well, tell me more about that. Back to our friend Ted Lasso, being curious, not judgmental, but like, I really don't understand why you're coming at it from that angle. And so that's only going to help the board better understand that point of view and why that might be beneficial to the future of the organization. So if you're thinking like, I need more information there, that's a responsibility of the board member. That's a role that you can play that would make the process better. Sorry to pick on you. Hope that was okay. But it could be anybody. What else?
Typically in a situation like this, you'll hear the theme of listening more than you're talking. But I think too often in a board meeting, in normal settings, there's too much that goes unsaid. While we're all listening and try to be open and not shut somebody down, we need to speak up and stick by what your values are.
Also understanding that you can stick by your values, other people have other values, being respectful of that. And, you're right in that we have 2 days. Like I said before, usually you have a couple of hours for your board meeting. You're trying to get through the agenda and move through it. There's not a lot of time for that type of interaction. The chairman has made this a priority for this board, that we set aside 2 days to have conversation about the future, and that is important. If there's, I don't want to shut anybody off, but if anybody else wants to add. Board role, the things you said, also big picture. If you were on the board when I told the story about hiking in the woods and I talked about looking up and down at your feet, you've got to do both of those things because you've got to be visionary looking out forward. At the same time, you don't want to trip on a rock or a root or anything like that. So it's a constant measure of doing this and this. Today's more about this, looking up, right? But you have to do both things at the same time. I would submit to the board that today is pretty visionary stuff. So that's a role of the board, is to think bigger picture, longer term. If you're thinking about tomorrow, that's probably not the role here, right? It's not to say you can't, but just keep in mind that you're trying to look forward. County, your professional staff, the role of professional staff in the room today, y'all agree or disagree with me, but I'd like to know if y'all feel like your role here is to, if they have questions, y'all are the owners of the data, right? Y'all have the intellectual knowledge of sort of what's happening from a process standpoint, and the finances, and a lot of the nitty-gritty details. So they may ask y'all questions to clarify their position. So that's a role of professional staff in the room today. Legal, of course, like, can we do that? What can we do? That sort of thing. So those are technical questions. Would y'all add to that? Are there anything I'm missing there? So the association team over here, data, more data, bigger picture data about trends and that sort of thing. Denise is amazing at that work and does a great job for all the counties in the state of North Carolina. We're lucky to have her. And then Amy and Neil, who Neil has disappeared. I'm not sure where he is. He's on a call. He had a call, but he'll be back. But they're facilitators, right? They're going to help you. So don't be offended if they start to ask you questions and try to draw things out of you. Their job, their role, our role, is to try to get you to make some decisions. And that might feel a little bit uncomfortable. I don't know, may not. But if it does, just remember that's their job. You've asked us to be here to help you make some decisions, given what you put before us. It's not our job to make the decision. It's not our job to make the decision for you. That's your job. But we're going to push you to try to make that decision. Is that good? Y'all feel like that's right? Do you want to add anything to it? Are y'all okay with that?
Sounds good.
Yeah, can I add one thing about the staff part of it?
Please.
Coming from a small town with very little staff, a lot of people ask, what's the big difference? And I said, it's hard to really explain how amazing our staff is, that we have professionals that are competent, that are, always have time for us when we have questions. And that's something on a lot of small towns, you just, one person's rolled up doing everything and they just don't have the expertise. And at our county, we have such an amazing staff that's able to, run the day-to-day things, and we kind of show up and take the glory, but they're doing all the work.
Commissioner Rose, man, you're on point today. Thank you for saying that, and thank you. You do have an amazing staff in Johnston County. I am biased. I think I've said that twice now this morning about county government. And then North Carolina, if you haven't lived outside of North Carolina and worked in county government outside of North Carolina, you probably don't appreciate the fact that North Carolina is a manager council form of government state. We've had that form of government in our state since the 1930s. A lot of states across the nation do not have that. So the fact that good government in North Carolina at the local level has a professional staff at the county level to do that for you is a gift, and thank y'all for doing that. And know that these folks over here and the folks across the state, they wake up every morning with a public servant heart to do this work on behalf of you. That also means that alleviates a lot of pressure off of you guys in the sense of, like, you don't have to do personnel, right? And that's a role of the board that y'all probably don't want to be a part of, that's why they're doing that. That allows you the ability to do what you're doing today, to think really big about the future of the county. And that doesn't happen everywhere. So thanks for highlighting it. You just teed me up for that, and that's great. All right, we're at time, but I want to ask, before we transition, and you already touched upon this, successes, we'll spend, if I can use a couple extra minutes. What worked really well last year? What was great? And then what were some challenges that you faced last year since we met at this convening last year? What was like, wow, we did that? What are you proud of? Commissioner?
We stirred in the stew a lot, but I'm not sure we got anything baked completely.
Okay, so maybe a progress year?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would agree with that. We have a lot of plans that were started last year, plan updates, our transportation plan, our ordinances that were worked on, and the parks plan that all got started in the last year that we completed this year. So I think that was a year of progress, let's say. So that may be the biggest success.
Okay.
That we are moving forward instead of being stagnant.
I'm gonna be real geeky here for any theater people in the room. I don't know if there are or not, but there's a term called passage work in theater. That if you're watching a show and you watch that program and you're like, it really wasn't that exciting. There wasn't a major plot twist or something, but it was just passage work. It was getting you from that episode over to this episode, but you had to have that one in the middle, because if you didn't have that one, you would have any context to how you got to there. It's passage work. So it sounds to me like a passage work year, like you were doing something just from the. What else? Or does that sum it up for folks?
I'd like to offer perspective to somebody who's new.
Yes, sir.
I came on in late May, right in the middle of the budget process of last year. But coming onto this board, you're basically coming in cold. You know, I've operated at the highest level of management in the state government on large agencies. I have been involved in numerous boards. I actually chaired a national board for a professional organization. So I know the process, but I didn't know the ins and outs of county government per se. So there was quite a bit of a learning curve there to understand what's going on and what needed to be addressed. That's why we're a policy board, not an operational board. You know, we need to understand the government itself, but we've got to rely heavily on the professional staff to bring us the data, the information, and also their recommendation on what they feel like is the proper course of action. I think that is very helpful to have that in for us to make a final decision moving forward.
That's helpful context.
Yes.
And it also tells me, it sort of reaffirms what was said here, is like a lot of learning curve stuff.
Oh yeah, and we've got several new board members now on board too, and I'm sure they're going through some of the same things.
Got it. Thank you. Other things. We'll wrap this up.
I think the year is, as I was sitting there reflecting on it, is really a lot of progress was made, but it was toward the end result. We haven't checked anything off the list per se, but there's a lot of bricks were laid in building the wall. We just haven't gotten it built yet.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably because there's so many things that had to be done to lay the groundwork to move forward with a lot of the projects, whether it's the UDO type work or the master plan or the land acquisition. There's been a lot of process and a lot of progress, but we haven't been able to check these things off the list yet, but hopefully we'll get there.
Yeah. So that's what today and tomorrow is a lot about, is like, where is the finish line, right? What year is the finish line on X project, and then sequencing those out. But also recognizing that success is progress too sometimes, right? It may not be a big fancy celebration at the end this year, because we're just making progress down the line. Just even acknowledging that's pretty important.
Yeah, I would say the one thing that we did too is we were able to cut the tax rate again last year as well. So I always count that success where we can keep the money in the pockets of the people rather than in Johnston County government's pockets.
Great. Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I think we're ready for a break. Before we do that, I want to say, just outline the rest of the agenda. So after we come back from the break, Denise is going to go over the numbers. I always look forward to that. We then have the Clifton Strengths discussion up until lunchtime. Then a dive into some economic issues and financial presentation in the afternoon. Break progress for Neil and Amy are going to talk about the progress on priorities of the year. That'll take us through day one. Then we'll come back tomorrow and get started on the priority setting. If we get ahead of schedule, that's not too bad, I don't think, for you guys. So we'll play that by ear. I wanted to note that there's an adjustment to tomorrow's calendar, or tomorrow's agenda, and that is, let me get this right, we want to add a conversation about the capital prioritization. Is that correct, Mr.
That's
Chairman?
correct.
Okay, and we're going to try to do that around lunchtime or a
Right,
little bit after.
it'll be right after lunch, and we'll probably extend the day. I don't know if all the way to 5, but it'll probably be close to 5. We'll
Okay.
allow up to a couple hours of discussion on that.
And then we'll just talk about those priorities and then other advanced priority setting for the rest of, or for this upcoming year. That's the agenda. If there are no questions, Mr. Chairman, I think we're ready for a break. And again, thank you so much for the opportunity for us to be a part of this day with you guys.
All right, and we'll take a 15-minute break and resume in 15 minutes.